In this video, we will talk what is circular linked list data structure. Linked list is a collection of elements where each element is represented as a node, and each node contains the element or the data along with the link to other node. The nodes of the circular linked list is same as the nodes of the linked list. There is absolutely no difference. Here we have the linked list for this collection of elements. The first node contains the element 7 and the link to the next node, that is the second node, which contains element 4. So on till the last node which stores element 3. And finally, the link of the last node will be null in the linked list, since there are no more elements in the collection and the node with element 3 is the last node. It does not point to any other node or the memory location. This linked list sometimes is also known as linear linked list. In the circular linked list structure, the next reference of the last node will point back to the first node of the list. That is, instead of having null as the next reference in the last node, we have the address of the first node in the next reference of the last node. Here we have the address of the first node as 4120. So, the next reference of the last node will store the address of the first node, that is 4120. Now we can visualize that there is a link from the last node of the list to the first node of the list. As the name suggests, that is circular linked list, and visually the links forms a circular pattern. This structure is used when the data set is cyclic. That is, nodes are connected in circular fashion. You can imagine, for example, in poker or rummy, players take turns in circular fashion. In general sense, the circular linked list has no beginning or end, since we can traverse all the nodes in circular pattern. But even though there is no beginning or end, we must maintain a reference to a particular node in order to use the list. So even here, we will have the first node as the head and the last node as the tail. But here, in the circular linked list, tail will be pointing back to the head node. There is nothing new to be studied or explored in the circular linked list. That is, the operations which can be performed on linear linked list or simply linked list are the same, except that we have to handle how tail reference will point back to the head node or the head reference. Before we move further, let us discuss some of the peculiar aspects of the circular linked list. Suppose there is only one node in the circular linked list. Then where will the next reference point to? For example, let us consider we have only one node in the circular linked list with the element as 7. In the linear linked list, the next reference points to null. And obviously, the head and the tail references points to the same node. The question is, where should the next reference of the only node in the circular list point to, since we cannot have null in the next reference? In circular linked list, if there is only one node, then the next reference will point back to the same node because it's a circular linked list. The last node should point back to the first node, and here the last node and the first node is the same. So, since the address of this node is 4120, the next reference will store the address of itself, that is 4120. And we can visualize that this node's next reference will point back to the same node.